Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to today's market color session. Hi Mr. Ezekiel, good morning. It's good to have you here. Good morning to our YouTube community as well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so today we're going to be starting today's market color session with a quick look at commodity currencies, NZD USD, AUD USD and USD CAD. Shortly after which my colleague is going to come do his analysis on indices, so US 30, NAS 100, and any other asset class he has his eyes on during the course of this day. So I'm going to quickly start with USD CAD to show us how beautifully this played out. Remember, those of us who joined on Tuesday, this was what we expected USD CAD to do. We even drew out our markup. So this was yesterday, day before yesterday, right? You can see how precisely the USD CAD trade played out. We expected price to come give some sort of retracement around here and then to the upside, as you can see using this particular horizontal line we have here on our charts. So USD CAD respected our analysis. It was too clean. How many of us called this trade? I think Mr. Ezekiel, you were part of us on Tuesday. Did you take advantage of this one? This is over 60 pips worth of movement on the USD CAD as a class. Beautifully done, beautifully so. I'm sorry, but this particular asset class, but beautifully. Did you take advantage of it, sir? You can just type in the chat box, please. Wow, okay. Okay. All right, well, USD CAD played out like we expected. NZD USD now, right? So let me see if our previous markup is still on the chart. For this particular one, we said wanted to see what it was going to do. We expected it to either break through, find support at this zone, continue buying, or wanted to see a break and a retest of this key level on the H1 so we could continue to sell. What happened with NZD USD? We saw a break below that level. These are POI on the higher time frame, and then price continued to sell. But okay, let us now look into what the market has in store for us today. I just wanted to quickly touch on that so you see how this works, right? So that when we do this analysis, you can also go on your laptop, look for extra conferences if you need to, and take advantage of these analysis. We're not just like talking for talking's sake, you know, we're doing all of this analysis for a purpose. So NZD USD, AUD USD, I'm just trying to delete everything off the chart so we can focus on today's session. So I'm going to quickly start with AUD USD on the H4 time frame. This also bought from our point of interest. It was too beautiful to see, but let's not focus on what the market has in store for us today. Sunshine, profit taking. We saw the sale that happened, it found support and it started to buy. It is now buying, but it has not given us a new support on a new sunshine on the downside or the upside. So profit taking has not fully occurred yet. Looking at the overall move on this asset class, you can tell the major structure is to the upside, but minor structures are still breaking through. If I see a break through this level that I've marked out here for a while, if I see a break of AUD USD above here, then it is safe to say that price wants to resume its buy and wants to tell you this could just come and give us this more retracement and give us that lap, that final move that will push AUD USD and break through. However, if it doesn't, and instead give us a lower low, then we know what is still, or a lower high, we know what is happening regardless. So because H1 or H4 rather is not as clear as I prefer, let's go to H1 for more data. On the H1 time frame now, price is at a support. If this level is going to hold, if this buy is going to happen, it is currently at a support level. So how do we know it's going to hold? We go on M5. On M5, we mark out the same thing we did on Tuesday, we'll now do for today. So let me go ahead and just drag this into today's price movement, marking out yesterday's high and yesterday's low. There are 4 basic levels we mark out every time on M5 time frame. Yesterday's high and low, day before yesterday's high, and day before yesterday's low. Okay, so this is now day before yesterday's high, marked into today's price movement, and day before yesterday's low as well. You see that on the M5 time frame, where price is currently reacting off of is an H1 support level. It is an H1 support level. this particular zone. That's why price is currently reacting to the upside. So if we see AUD begin to buy from here, it is going to buy and target where next. It's going to buy into our trend or all the way into our next resistance. If it buys into this zone, one of two things would always happen. We're either going to break above and continue to buy, and then we'll buy it till we see a new sunshine formed on the H4 time frame, or it is going to violate it, break below, and we'll see price sell until the new sunshine is formed on the opposite direction, simply put. So I'm watching to see what price does at these zones, and I'm going to act accordingly. On the H4 time frame of NZD, this is gradually breaking to the downside right now, based on what price is doing. You'd see that a new sunshine has been printed, found support, started to buy, and it is reacting downward. Because of what price has been doing since sometime around the 19th of June period, forming structures to downside, this is possible that we'll see another leg of sell on NZD that will give us a new sunshine. So by that leg, I mean a sell. That is if, provided the support zone does not hold. But if the support zone holds, then we're looking at NZD buying from here into our next point of interest, which is around this level. M5, same thing. Let's mark out those 4 zones. So only focus on the levels I'm marking out into today's price movement so you don't get confused, please. This is simply yesterday's high and low, day before yesterday's high and low. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if price finds support around this level, we may see a buy on NZD. Why do we draw these other points of interest? Because they may act as resistance level that will fight these zones to the downside. However, if price trades below and comes into the zone, then this may be where the buy may begin from. Remember what we saw on H4, right? Looking at what price has been doing, the likelihood of the sell happening is there. And if it does, we see confirmations to keep selling till we see a new sunshine printed. Sunshine basically means that people who sold the market have started taking their profit off the market. However, if this support level holds, we're going to buy NZD. So we're currently waiting for what? Confirmations. We're currently waiting for confirmations. We call this strategy the all-weather. Me personally, I always say it is all-weather because it gives me the ability to be able to catch trades with the trend and against the trend. But what I do when I'm trading against the trend is to now reduce my risks. USD CAD H4 predominantly to the downside, minor structures are forming to the upside. Sunshine has been printed. That is why we saw this buy happening. So if this buy is going to keep happening, now on the H1, what do we now think is going to happen? We're expecting it to happen. I'll go back to H4 so you see what I'm saying. Sunshine was printed, profit taking of those who sold this market has occurred. We expected the buy, a retracement or a reversal to occur. If this is a retracement, it's going to continue to sell from here, right? Or it's going to come here, find resistance, and give us another leg down, meaning the retracement has finished happening. If you're even using the Fibonacci retracement tool from this point to this point, this is a good enough level, or price is approaching a good enough level for us to continue to sell USD CAD, following our most recent swing. So that will now be 50% Fibonacci level, right? However, for H1 now, H1 Sunshine has been printed, so we're expecting a temporal sell of USD CAD. The temporal sell into what level? Let me delete the Fibonacci tool so it doesn't look so much. So I'm expecting a temporal sell. We see more push-ups of USD CAD to the upside, trade exactly into this previous support that may now become resistance, which will now be 50% of the Fibonacci level. And if price approaches this one, we will now see a temporal sell to come and trade into the next support level. So if this particular major move, predominant move is going to continue happening, this is where we're looking to buy from. However, if our most recent price action is going to take over, we're going to see the sell breakthrough. So for USD CAD right now, I am looking at the temporal sell. I'm waiting for price to give me the opportunity to take a short sell. This is where I'm going to take my profit on the 5-minute time frame. From where price currently is So my take profit level is around 35 pips. But I can't even jump in now until I see confirmation for me to sell. And I'm going to attempt to first sell into this zone and take profit around here. Then wait to see if price breaks through this level to the downside or find support to continue to buy. So either way, I am leaving here with something. That's pretty much it for the three asset classes I'm looking at, right? Pretty much it. So USD CAD temporary sell, take profit around the zone and wait. When price breaks through this level or even this level, and I know that there's nothing else that could, okay, let's go ahead and mark out our 4 basic levels that we always do. We almost missed that. So you can see where price is now reacting off of. It is day before yesterday's high that it is selling from. So day before yesterday's high and day before yesterday's low. Price can break through this level and come and target the next support level. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark out yesterday's high right here and yesterday's low. Right here. Do you see that yesterday's low and where I'm taking profit from are also in confluence? So this is what I'm watching out for. These 4 levels are just support and resistance zones that I always like to follow. So that when price approaches those zones, I know to either take partial or break even, whichever it is I choose to do. And in this particular case, our stop loss on USD CAD will be very small because I like to put my stop loss above the high to give you room. So this now serves as a protected high, so that if price now eventually breaks through this level and takes me out, then I take my L with all dignity and wait for the next opportunity. Okay, so yes, we're going to see what the market will do. Let's keep watching to see what the market provides for us in the course of this day. Do you have any questions before we proceed into the next half of today's analysis? In the absence of any question, let's move into the next half covering indices. All right, so thank you so much for joining and giving me your attention. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back in less than a minute to touch on indices and look for beautiful trade opportunities. Cheers and God bless.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second part of this market color. Hope we are good, hope you're fine. Good morning to you all. All right, today we'll be looking at the US markets, US 30, US 100, which is the Nasdaq, and also S&P 500, also known as US 500. We had some analysis on Tuesday that is really playing out very well, right? We did some analysis and we had our levels marked out where we wanted price to react from. And as we speak, those trades are currently in play and they are performing really, really nicely. All right, let me switch to the chart so that we can see the current. Okay, we're on the charts already. So today will be more of breakdown because we have trade running already. So what did we see happen on Tuesday? price was still selling, and then we said we're going to start selling. Just wait for price to react from this level, and then sell to the downside. Apparently, on the 15-minute time frame, price just reacted from the fair value gap, right? But luckily for people on the market color that day, some people were able to take these sales. I wasn't personally, but then we had a couple of people saying they were able to, take entries. We were looking for a more refined entry. However, those guys were able to take entry from just this, right? From just this fair value gap. They took entry from fair value gap, and then SL was above this. And then we ultimately said we are selling into where? Into this zone because of this other block here on the 2-hour time frame. Said we're selling from this other block, we're selling into this other block, and then we resume our buy to the upside, right? This was the first scenario for a sell, the second scenario for a sell. Luckily, price peaked here, and then we made money from this, right? Some of our guys made money from this. This was ultimately our buy position. Why were we bullish? Because the market is ultimately bullish. By the time we look at the daily time frame, even as we still speak, the market is bullish, right? The market is bullish. Number one, we have a failure swing here, right? Meaning price created a new higher high and failed to create another new higher high here, right? Breaking this previous higher high. So we have a failure swing, meaning there's liquidity above here that price is going to eventually come and sweep, right? So for that reason, we have our confirmation to be buy. Also, we have like an inducement here, right? Price swept through this, tapped into this other block that's never been tested before, all right? Price tapped into this other block that's never been tested before. We have a fair value gap. There's a whole lot of conflicts at play here. So it makes sense for us to buy from that other block. And what did we do? We just waited for price to enter this zone. This is the entire daily order block zone, right? So let me delete it. And by the time you start investigating further and further, we see that we have only two areas of interest that is really valid here. This area that has never been mitigated before, and this on the 1-hour time frame, then we scale down, that's never been mitigated before, meaning we have two areas of interest. And like I told our guys on Tuesday, I said we can enter this trade. If you're going to reach 1% on this particular trade setup, the ideal thing is to do here is to risk 0.5 on each area of interest so that you don't miss out. Because if you want to reach your entire 1% here and price there eventually get to this zone, you might end up, just regretting, just analyzing for analysis sake and not being part of the trade. So we enter this trade here, right? Price just wicked our other block on the 2-hour time frame. All of this thing I'm saying is on the replay of Tuesday. You can watch our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel and watch the replay. All right. Today is just more of recap. And then where are we going? Yeah. Right. That one is to, on my own end, it's like 1:15 actually. Okay. 1:15-ish. So as it is now, we are running risk-free on this trade because currently it has done probably 1:4. Okay, it has done 1:6 already. 1:6. So we are running risk-free on this trade, right? On US 30. So we had a very good ride on US 30 here, a very beautiful trade on US 30. And I'm also going to explain everything. Let's go to US 100. So you can see that even though we had a beautiful ride here, we still took SL in some other places, which is fine. This is trading, right? The goal is not to avoid loss, is to ensure that your wins are bigger than losses. All right. Also, we had the same thing on US 100 analysis being made for the market being bullish. And true to it, the market is still very, very much bullish, right? And then we had this other block that's not been mitigated before on the daily time frame, right? The same thing with what we had on US 30. And then we came to the 2-hour time frame, had a whole lot of area of interest. This same other block here on US 30, we had the same on US 100, and then this area. So price came here the first time, took us out -1R, and again entered from this zone. This was quite painful, right? And SL just below here. what happened? Price took us out. Some other person will have said, you should have covered all of this. Should be told, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. Price doesn't get to take out this low because here represents a very strong low because it swept liquidity here, right? This is a very strong low. We have inducement. Everything that should account for a good trade was spotted on this chart, right? But then the market just chose to do what it wants to do. And eventually what happened? We are stopped out and price did what? Price continued its original direction. And where are we heading to? We're heading to this zone as our first take profit, right? So we are down to R on US 100. And what gave us that peace of mind we wanted? S&P 500, right? S&P 500 did what? Okay, took us out here under -1R. And then eventually, boom, from this zone here, we had a very solid buy from this zone. You can see this analysis is still there. Is on Thursday. We had a very good buy on this zone, and then okay, 1:5, right? And currently price have done, if I'm not mistaken, minus the 3.5, right? So this is the entire trade setup we had on Tuesday. You can see how we frame the bias from higher time frame. Price is bullish. You can see it clearly here. Price broke structure. Price broke structure to the upside, meaning we are bullish, right? Confirmed. And we have liquidity here, right? This area that remains, that is, valid to be swept, right? And then we have a fair value gap just underneath. We have another block that's not been tested before, other block that's not been mitigated before. Then by the time you scale to the 4-hour time frame, you begin to see it very clearly. You have this other block here, and then you have also 2 other blocks, right? 2 other blocks, 1 hour. Okay, 2 other blocks. The first one, please don't saw you see it clearly. This first one and what? The second one here on the 1 hour time frame, right? So the first one here, the second one here, both have not been mitigated before, so it makes sense. And actually, price rejected from this other block. It tried to push, but the sellers took us out, and then eventually started pushing from this zone to the upside. So by the time you calculate all of these trade, we have 5.3R or 3.5R here, right? 3.5R here, and ultimately price have done 1:6 on US 30. That's under 6R. And altogether 3.5 here, 6 over there, we are 9.5R up. So minus the first SL we took here and 2 SL on US 100, the first and second here. That's altogether we are looking at 6.5R up. If we eventually we get full take profit here, we have made massive killing on this trade, right? This is 14.7R altogether. This is 5.38R altogether. So it's a beautiful trade this morning, and we are just watching how this market is going to react. There are areas for more confirmation, areas for more addition to this trade if peradventure price comes back there. But then we don't want to stack this trade. Just allow it to run. Just allow it to run. I believe everybody has broken even already on this trade, right? Because it was given live here on Tuesday, and whatever the case is, I want to see how price reacts. I'm looking at the market today. Most likely we won't see much reaction, right? That's what I'm suspecting. Because on Friday we have NFP, so probably we'll see much of the whole, market movements, strong momentum during NFP. That's what I'm thinking. Today might be sluggish, but who knows? Whatever the case might be. So if you're on this trade, like I mentioned, there are 2 things you can do. Take off 80% of your position, take 80% off, and then allow the remaining 20 to run. Bring your B into break even. Bring your SL into break even. That's your stop loss. And ensure you break even on this trade across board, across US 30, across S&P 500. US 100 already took us out, except if you were lucky and somewhere along the line you didn't happen to be on the chart. when all of this happened, right? For me, I was on this chart when price took me out here, right? And then took me out here, right? But then for S&P 500, I didn't have to take this loss. I just came and entered from here. And also it's US 30, entered from here. And so that's the whole analysis on US equities this morning. Let me know in the comment section if you have any question. So far, so good, especially on this pair, right? Akinwumi, Ashafashion, Ezekiel, Murayo, Mo, Yosuru, Lua. Do we have any question? Do we have any question at all? So that we can look into it together, especially on this analysis being made. I'm waiting for a comment in the chat box. Do you have any question? Okay. Okay. No questions on me. Thank you very much for joining us. You're welcome. Thank you so much. All right. We'll be meeting again by 2 p.m. New York session for the New York session. And hopefully price will have, given us more candlestick. We'll have seen more candlestick in the markets. We can interpret those price movements to see whether our bias stay intact or if something really has changed significantly, right? Thank you so much for joining this morning, guys. I wish you all a profitable trading. Until next time, cheers and God bless, guys.